I want you to imagine walking into a bookstore and buying one of your favorite books, a book that you really love. Now imagine a few days go by and you find out that the bookstore has gotten into a massive argument with the publisher of the book that you purchased. It got to the point where they're no longer selling the book that you bought. Now for you, this won't matter at all because you've already purchased a copy of the book. In fact, you read the book, you loved it, and you're even sharing it with a few friends so they can borrow it and read it as well. All is good on your end. But how would you feel if things were a little bit different? Imagine the bookstore being able to come to your house and actually forcefully take the book back that you purchased so you no longer have access to it anymore, even though you already paid for it. This may sound completely ridiculous to even think about from a physical book perspective, but in the world of ebooks and Kindle books, this is exactly what has been happening for a long time now. It doesn't happen very often, but there have been reports of Amazon sending out revisions or updates to people's books, or even worse, taking books back out of people's library on their Kindle because of some sort of contractual issue with the publisher. Now, the reason why I am talking about this right now, and the reason why I am making this video is because Amazon right now, as we speak, is in the process of rolling out some new updates to their Kindle customers. And even if you don't own a Kindle, this will impact you, and I want to bring it to your attention. There are two changes that are happening right now. The first of which is a lot more obvious. When you buy a book on the Amazon website, a Kindle book, you're going to see this new disclaimer underneath the checkout button telling you that you're not buying a book, you are buying a license. Now, this policy of buying a license has always been there, but this disclaimer having it front and center right below the checkout button is very new, and I'm very curious why that is. Now, if you don't know what this means, when you buy a book on the Amazon website, a Kindle book specifically, you're not actually buying a copy of the book. You're simply buying a license to read the book from Amazon. Most people don't even know that this is a thing. When you buy a book from a physical bookstore, you're buying a physical book and you own it. You kind of imagine that when you buy an ebook, it's the same thing, but it's not. This is usually the case from any big bookseller online. So I'm going to go back to my question now. Why is Amazon deciding all of a sudden right now to make this way more prominent on the product page of the Kindle purchase screen? This was never there before. I checked, I went back in the archives and compared a screenshot from October of 2024 to right now, and I'm very clearly seeing this new language being added. Why in the world are they doing this now? What is triggering this change? If you ask me, I think Amazon is trying to get ahead of the game and cover their butt a little bit in case they get into any legal problems, because they can now say that this disclaimer was very clearly advertised right on the product page and not buried in the terms and conditions like it was before. So every customer buying a Kindle book should now technically be more aware of this license policy. But honestly, it also does make me a little bit concerned. What if this is just the beginning of some bigger updates down the road? Again, Amazon has all the power here, we don't. Now, the second change that Amazon is making right now is way more important, but it does require a lot more context to understand the implications of it. Now, even though when you buy a Kindle book from Amazon, you're only purchasing a license for the book and not the actual book itself, for years now, you've had the ability to download the book file to your computer. This was designed for Kindle e-readers, the old ones especially, where you had to manually drag and drop the file from your computer onto the Kindle. Now, even though all these new Kindles are completely wireless, there's no wired connection required anymore, they've left this download feature there for a long time for people who have the older Kindles, so you can still download books and get them on your device. Now, one very important thing to note is that even though you had the ability to download the Kindle book from Amazon and put it onto a Kindle, you couldn't do anything else with it. They would encrypt the file and protect it with something called DRM. DRM stands for Digital Rights Management. It's basically a way for Amazon to protect their file and prevent you from using it for anything else besides putting it onto a Kindle. Now, even though these files would have DRM encrypted on them, the book tech community has found ways to remove the DRM, giving us full access to the book file. So you no longer have a license to read the book. There are ways you can get access to the book file itself and own a copy of it as well. Now, doing this isn't technically by the rules. It did require a few extra extra steps as well. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world, but it wasn't that hard either. And for a long time now, people have been doing this for various reasons. Some folks would just want to download their Kindle books and have a backup copy in case Amazon just decided to stop selling them one day. And other folks would have a Kobo, for example, and they couldn't find their books anywhere else besides Amazon. So they would buy the book on Amazon, download a copy of it, remove the DRM and put it onto their Kobo instead of a Kindle. That was a very valid use case as well. There's always going to be a reason to have access to the book file. But of course, we also have the bad actors out there who would abuse the system and download books with bad intentions of sharing them. But from the research that I've done, this was actually the minority. The vast majority of people who use this download feature from Amazon use it for personal use, use it for very valid use cases. The change that Amazon is making on February 26th, 2025, just a few days from now as of making this video, is Amazon will be removing the button to download your Kindle books directly from the Amazon website. This is a very big deal because now the only way you can read a Kindle book is directly on a Kindle or the Kindle app. Now, honestly speaking, I don't think this will be impacting 99% of Kindle customers. Most people don't use this download feature. Most people just read on their Kindle or their Kindle app directly. But from a moral standpoint, this is very frustrating, and I personally feel it's a step in the wrong direction. If you ask me, I love using book tech. It's become a central part of my life, and I don't see myself going back to physical books anytime soon. But policies like the licensing thing and DRM, restrictions like that really make it hard to advocate for more people to use book tech because it gives us a really bad reputation. Companies like Amazon have a very high incentive of locking people into their ecosystem. The more people they can get to buy their books from Amazon and read them on the Kindle app and nowhere else, the more money they're going to make. Obviously, Amazon is a big winner in all of this, but it leaves us, the customer, with very little power. We don't really have any control over this, and we are really giving up a lot of our freedom for being able to do what we want with our books. Now, if you're watching this video right now before February 26th, it is not too late to download your Kindle books from the Amazon website. Just remember, there's a second step involved of stripping them of DRM so you can freely use those books anywhere you want. There are a ton of tutorials online on YouTube that you can watch that will show you how to do it. It is a bit technical, but not too hard. But just remember, you are technically breaking the terms and conditions of your Kindle purchase, but I'll leave that up to you to decide whether it's worth it or not. Now, I have no doubt in my mind this is not going to stop anyone from finding new ways of accomplishing the same thing, but it's going to definitely make it harder and more technical than it was before, which is very sad because I think everyone should have access to the books they're purchasing. If you want to learn more about DRM and this whole dark side of owning a Kindle, I actually made a video about this exact topic not too long ago. Link for that video on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.